Here we are then, everybody, welcome back to the Red Arrows Formula 1 League for the sprint race here at the Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. Coming into tonight, we've got Super Striker currently walking away with the championship lead, but tonight's going to be a big night for the likes of Brad Races and Sniper C, because these two are the ones closest to him in the championship. Brad sits currently 42 points behind Super Striker in the championship, as we see the last season's champion and guest appearance tonight, Cucumber. They're going off onto the runoff. They're taking a shortcut here on this formation lap. We'll come to him in a moment, but Brad tonight 42 points behind in the championship, could overhaul that points total tonight across both the sprint and the Grand Prix. If he wins both races, then he will be leading the championship, I believe, by 3 points after tonight. So tonight could be a massive night for Brad, with Super Striker obviously not being here. But big shout out to Cucumber, last season's champion, the reigning champion here at Red Arrows. He's not going to be the champion this season because he hasn't been racing for all of the season up till now. I believe he's only a reserve tonight, so he's not jumping in for the rest of the season. But qualifying in second place here for the sprint race tonight, so he's clearly put in the work here for this one. Either that, or he's just very well versed on the Formula 1 game in general. But nonetheless, we're coming around to complete the formation lap, and we should be moments away here from the start of this sprint race here for the Chinese Grand Prix at Shanghai here on F1 25 for the Red Arrows Formula 1 League. As cars are now lining up on the grid, taking their positions. Looks like the entire field has gone for the medium tyres here tonight, which is not really a surprise. The softs tend to burn up quite quickly around this track. The hard tyres will be painfully slow, and would take probably about 3 or 4 laps to actually warm up. So medium tyres, no brainer really, isn't it? So here we are then, lining up on the grid. As it appears Ernie and McCarthy have both missed their grid slots here. But here we are, lights will be coming on in a second. And lights coming on at the head of the grid, but moments away from the start here of the Chinese Grand Prix sprint race here at the Red Arrows Formula 1 League. And it is lights out, we're underway. And it looks like Brad got a very good start there, and he's clear ahead of Cucumber as they come down towards turn 1. As we've got 3 wide in the background there. The Haas was looking down the inside of Sniper C and Lycorius. That was Jay-Z, who seems to have got ahead of Sniper C going through turn 1. And has now got ahead of Lycorius as well. So flying start there from Jay-Z, up 2 places here in the first few corners. We've got Ernie there moving ahead of Pavlison, and Angry Guns has also got ahead of Sniper C as well. So Sniper C going backwards here in the opening few corners of this lap. He's looking back down the inside now of Angry Guns. Can Sniper C get his position back here? Tonight is a good night, a big opportunity for him to try and close the gap to the championship leader, but so far it's not gone too well. He's got back out of Angry Guns, and Ernie has also followed him through as well there. So Ernie up into 9th place, Angry Guns now down to P10 in all of that. But currently it's Brad leading ahead of Cucumber, with Clen there running in P3, driving a cracking race here in this sprint race. Did a fantastic job in qualifying a few moments ago, and is currently right there in with a good chance here in this race so far. We've got Onyx there looking to the inside, Onzi looking to the inside of Youngie towards the end of that little straight, but was too far back to go for a move as they came into the braking zone. But that is the situation currently right now. It's Brad, Cucumber, Clen, with Youngie, Onzi, Jay-Z the top 6, then you've got Lycorius, Sniper C ahead of Ernie, Angry Guns completing the top 10, followed by Pavlison, Jordan Hillier, Richie in 13th ahead of McCarthy, who rounds out the field as Onzi looking to the inside. Is he going to make this move here? Lycorius also making a move on he's gone off there as Lycorius. He's off onto the runoff there. He's facing the wrong way as well, as he was trying to make the move there on Jay-Z and has ended up facing backwards, and Lycorius down to P14 in this one on the opening lap, the only casualty so far of this race. He's got it going quite quickly. I don't know if he's got damage on the car. He might well do, or did he spin actually trying to avoid the other cars, in which case he wouldn't have damage. But goodness knows how he's going to be getting on throughout the rest of this stint. We don't know whether or not he's got damage or not, but nonetheless we see Jordan here moving ahead of Pavlison, as Pavlison was trying to attack on Angry Guns and ends up getting caught napping as a result of that. Pavlison now looking to the outside of Jordan as they come down towards the end of the first sector. He's going to look to try and go around the long way here is Pavlison. Is he going to have the grip on the outside to do that? He is going to have that done, and up into 10th place he goes. That was a lovely move there from Pavlison, I have to say. That was beautifully done. And we go back to the leaders here, because Brad is still just holding on ahead of Cucumber, but Cucumber will have to DRS down the long straight. Only a 10 lap sprint race, so there's not too many chances here for Cucumber to really force the issue. Obviously they're all on the medium tyres, so they're all in the same situation. Obviously no one's going to need to pit, or if they do then they're going to lose more time than they'd gain. So really the sprint races quite often are actually about tyre saving, because you want to make sure you've got enough to withstand any pressure towards the end. Those who save their tyres in the first few laps always reap the benefits towards the end. But Cucumber here looking to the outside into the hairpin. Oh, so we see a massive lock up there from Brad, and Cucumber didn't need a second invitation there. Gets a beautiful exit there out of the hairpin. Well, it wasn't a particularly beautiful exit, but it was far better than the Mercedes, which was all over the place there going into the braking zone. And Cucumber now leads at the end of lap 2, and Brad is now the one chasing, but he's looking to try and come straight back at him here as he's down the inside into turn 1 with DRS. Easy return move there for Brad Races. He had that. He definitely had that buyback clause as they went into turn 1, and Brad there beautifully making his way back up into P1 as we see Ernie now attacking on the back of Jay-Z as well as they go through the first sector. But at the moment Jay-Z is looking like he's holding on pretty nicely here to this P6 for the time being. Ernie's going to get a bit of a run down towards this next corner, but looks as though Jay-Z's looking pretty comfortable there as Jordan's moved back out of Angry Guns. He's gone a bit wide though as Jordan. Is Angry Guns going to look to try and capitalise on that? No, he can't. And Jordan's still running in P10 at the moment then. Lycorius now 2 seconds off for the train here at the back of the pack, so he's gaining a little bit on the stragglers at this point, but not massively. And the battle at the front still continues to rage on. Cucumber is keeping Brad on his toes. I tell you what, Clen seems to be really enjoying himself right now there in third place. He's right behind the leaders and it's going to be there waiting to capitalise. If these two trip over each other, you can be absolutely sure of that. The champion at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League on a Tuesdays and Thursday nights, obviously that will be starting up again tomorrow night for their season 14. But we see Brad here and Cucumber side by side into the hairpin, and Cucumber trying to go around the outside here of Brad, and I think he might have that one done. He's going to now be ahead at the DRS detection point for the second detection point down the main straight. And this is now going to give Brad a chance to go for the immediate reply, just as he did on the previous lap. But is he going to have enough road to do so? Because Cucumber's on the inside and slightly ahead going into turn 1. The outside is the preferred line around this corner, though, as Brad's looking to try and go all the way around him here. And he should have this one done on the inside for the next corner, as Cucumber's trying to hold his line, hold his nerve, as well as Brad is still side by side here with Cucumber. And in the end, the Mercedes is going to get the move done as he gets the traction there out of the corner. Cucumber's still there, though. I tell you what, these guys have been side by side now for about 6 corners, and Cucumber there goes late on the brakes, and to be honest, they had that one done really easy there going into that corner. Brad was far too cautious there on the brakes. Cucumber there caught him napping big time, and up into P1 finally goes Cucumber. But I feel that Brad could have maybe fought that one a bit harder there. Maybe he's thinking about the championship, knows that tonight is a big night in terms of the amount of points that he could gain on his teammate Super Striker, who's not here, and is just thinking, you know what, I don't need to fight this isn't my battle. But obviously Cucumber will be taking points off of him unless Cucumber gets removed from the results. A lot of leagues give you the points based on your position, but some leagues, I don't know what Red Arrow's policy is on this, but some leagues basically remove reserve drivers from the points. So whoever's second would essentially be given the points for first place. But I don't know how they do it. But anyway, Brad here looking to the outside now, Cucumber into the hairpin. Oh, and this time it's Cucumber who locks up enormously, but this time he gets away with it. So Brad are not able to make the most of that in towards the final corner. Now they come once again. And is Brad going to get the run here down the main straight? He's too far back, I think, this time around, and Cucumber will hold on here into turn 1. But what about all this is? Cucumber forced to defend there a little bit, but it's a bit of a half-assed defence there. Knew he just had to cover it off. But Brad now has got a lot of work to do here in this race to try and make sure he can maximise the points that he's going to gain on his championship rival tonight, Super Striker. But great fight here out the front. These two have gapped Clen now by just about a second, although Clen has just managed to sneak back into that 1 second range in this first sector here. So Clen seems to be pretty good through these slower corners, seems to have good traction by the looks of it. One would guess from that one. But anyway, we've got Youngie here who's also very, very close, as well as Onzi. Ernie here is right on the gearbox here of Onzi as well. And there is Sniper C, who's looking to try and join this party if he possibly can after a tricky opening lap. Sniper C, you have to say, it was a disaster. Jay-Z's dropped back a little bit here since the opening lap, is now behind Pavlison. Pavlison starting to make some headway here in the sort of the mid part of this sprint race. We can see here Lycorius is still well away from the back of the pack at the moment, and Angry Guns, after coming in for a pit stop for damage, is running in 14th place, 45 seconds off of the back of the main pack. So he's had an absolute horror show here in this sprint race, and I'm sure we'll be looking to try and recover some of his lost points here, as we see Jordan there looking up the inside of Jay-Z into the hairpin, a little bit too far away. Thing is, they're all in a DRS train, so you don't really get any benefit whatsoever from having the DRS, unless the car in front of you doesn't have DRS. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be an opportunity here for all of these drivers to get involved, as Pavlison is going to be very vulnerable. Oh my goodness, there was a bit of lag there as the Haas there went into the back of him on my side. I think probably on Pavlison's side as well. The Haas is seeing sort of different, seeing something different, I think, from these other guys, because he just ghosted there, momentarily lost his front wing, and then the game corrected it. But yeah, there's some kind of lag going on there, as Jordan there now looking to the outside of Pavlison into the next corner, but Pavlison holding his position there on the inside. Now Jay-Z is going to lose out to Jordan. Oh, it's Richie there losing it in the background, maybe distracted by all that commotion in front of him, and Richie there loses out to McCarthy, who moves up into 11th place. But that was a bit chaotic there. Pavlison still holding on to 8th place there, but not because well, I think it was mainly because Jay-Z lagged into the back of him there. But Jordan now looking to the inside here of Pavlison, still a little bit too far away, going into the end of the long straight, end of the short straight, should I say. But Cucumber and Brad still battling it out, the top two here coming down the long straight. And Brad here with DRS is going to get a little bit closer into the hairpin. I think it's a bit too far back to send it. It'll be a brave move from there, especially with the overspeed that he's going to have. You have to brake a little bit earlier when you've got that sort of pace or that sort of speed down the straight. And we can see here that Brad is about half a second behind as they come out of the final corner. I think he's a little bit too far back to get a run. He will get closer. He'll put Cucumber under a bit of pressure here, but I don't think he's in range to make a move. And Cucumber's going to hold on quite comfortably there, as Onzi has made the move for a podium place, but Clen's looking to try and come back at him here as he's on the inside, and these two are still side by side. Onzi there took a bit too much speed through that section and has gone very, very wide. Can Kellen now get the cutback? He's looking to try and get it here. Is he going to have a chance here to come back at him coming into this next hairpin? I think Onzi might have that one done. Clen is still right with him here. It's going to be close here between these two. Onzi has to cover the inside line. Clen's going to try and go around the long way here. In the end, goes for the cutback because he's not going to get that move done around the outside, but I think Onzi's got that one covered off and has got that one done now. Up into 3rd place there is Onzi. Clen is still right with him though, looking to try and get this move back with him as soon as he possibly can. And this is obviously fight for a podium. This is you know, big ramifications here for whoever comes out on top in this battle. Also Ernie and Sniper C are going to be looking pretty hungry in the background as well. They'll be wanting some of this. Oh no, it's Clen there goes into the back of Onzi at the end of the short straight there. Just went a bit too over-ambitious there on the brakes, and hopefully hasn't got any damage on the front end, but he'll be lucky to have got away with no damage after that. For sure, you'd think at least there might be some screws loose there on the car, that is. But Clen here now looking to the outside as they come down towards the hairpin, and Onzi forced to defend. That will give Clen a more preferred line on the exit, which will keep Onzi under tremendous pressure here as they come down towards the final corner. And he'll have DRS here down the straight, obviously being the lead car in the train, or rather the second car in the train, which is obviously the lead car in the chasing pack. But Clen here now getting a good slipstream and DRS there down the straight, but just a little bit too far away to have a crack at Onzi going into turn 1 for the time being. Jordan here still keeping the pressure on the back of Youngie in this fight for 8th and 9th places. You've got Jay-Z with a penalty there in 11th place, going backwards as well after an absolutely stonking start there from Jay-Z. This race has kind of petered out a little bit there for him. Cucumber and Brad still battling out over the lead. We'll come back to them in a second, because Cucumber seems to be a little bit too far away at the parts of the track where it really matters for Brad to have a proper crack at him. But at the moment, Onzi is still keeping Clen at bay in this fight for third place. Jay-Z's just got ahead of Lycorius again, as we're watching the battle here for the podiums. And Clen, I think, is a bit too far away here to really put Onzi under pressure, as we've got to go to the leaders here, because Brad, within half a second of Cucumber as they come into the DRS zone, down the long straight. Here we go then. He's going to get him that little bit closer. Again, just a little bit too far back to send it into the hairpin, but if he can stay close here through these next two corners, then we could be seeing a lead change once again here. At the end of lap 8, we're about to go on to the penultimate lap of the race here, lap 9 of 10. Now, what sort of exit is Brad going to get out of the final corner? It was decent, but I don't think he's quite close enough still. I think he's again going to he's going to have Cucumber looking in his mirrors a little bit, but Brad just not quite close enough to get alongside and force Cucumber into a bit of a tricky decision. As we see Cucumber's, Youngie even has got ahead of Pavlison. Those two are actually battling at the moment as Ernie and Clen have gone side by side here. Clen's going to look to try and keep himself around the outside here. Is Ernie going to run him out of road? No, gives him space, but Clen's going to have to tuck back into the slipstream here because he didn't get a great... Ernie's going to have to tuck back into the slipstream as Ernie actually couldn't get that move done on Clen there. So Clen maintains 4th place at the moment. Now Sniper C is looking pretty racy here on the back of this quartet of cars being led by Onzi. But Clen there, sorry, I do apologise for that. That was a bit of a mistake from me. Clen was the one who kept the position ahead of Ernie. I'm so used to seeing Clen driving in a Williams. That's the problem, because Purple Sector on Tuesdays and Thursdays, he drives in the Williams. So subconsciously, for a second there, I just switched off and I just obviously saw Clen. Or rather, I saw a Williams and assumed it was Clen. It obviously isn't, because Clen drives in the RB in the Red Arrows F1 League. But here we are then, coming out onto the long straight once again, and Onzi seems to have gapped these guys a little bit. In the meantime though, we've got the battle for the lead really heating up, because Brad is looking to the outside here on Cucumber going into the hairpin. Again though, Cucumber holding his ground, as we see Sniper C looking to the inside of Ernie, looking to the inside there of Ernie going into the hairpin. But Ernie's able to stay ahead here because he's got the DRS from Onzi and Clen. Clen is looking very close here on Onzi as they come down the straight, as Cucumber and Brad, as they were going into turn 1 still. Clen too far back here on Onzi going down the main straight. As we see in the background there, we've got Pavlison and Jordan Hillier fighting it out here over 8th place. And Jordan's got that one done there. So Jordan gaining places here in the closing laps of this sprint race, has obviously looked after his tyres a bit better than the drivers around him. Now he's going to look to try and attack on Youngie if he possibly can. On this final lap, he'll have DRS on the Sauber going down that long main straight, or not the main straight, but the long straight before the main straight in that final sector. But this is the fight for the win here. Cucumber and Brad still fighting it out for the lead as they're coming through the middle sector for this final tour of this sprint race. Now what's Brad got to try and throw at the Ferrari driver and current reigning champion of this Red Arrows F1 League? I may have called him the former champion at some point. He's actually the reigning champion, but he's a former driver here because he hasn't been racing this season as a regular. Only a reserve here tonight is Cucumber, but has absolutely stepped up to the plate brilliantly here on his return to the Red Arrows F1 League, and could be about to take a win on his return race. Brad, one of the championship contenders, is going to try and throw everything at him here in his final couple of corners, but I think that Cucumber has got enough in hand here as they come now down to the hairpin, locking up from both of them there. But I think he looks good here to hold on, as in the background you've got Ernie making a move on Clen, and Clen losing out to Sniper C as well. So Clen losing 2 places there, but the leaders are coming out of the final corner, and Cucumber, oh, it's Brad there, bins it into the wall. He needs to get over the line quickly here. There we go, he gets over the line. So Cucumber wins ahead of Brad in second, with Onzi over to complete the podium. Ernie there in 4th with Sniper C P5. What has happened to Clen? Has Clen run out of fuel? We see Youngie 6th ahead of Jordan 7th, Pavlison 8th, Richie 9th, with Makati 10th, Jay-Z 11th, Lycorius in 12th. Has Clen run out of... he's crossed the line. I didn't see what happened to Clen there. But Clen 13th place in the end. And Angry Guns a long way behind after that early damage. It's going to come around in 14th place in a moment. But... wow, what happened to Clen there? That's a strange one. I mean, he was running in perfectly healthy P6 as they came out of the hairpin. I think he must have run out of fuel, because the way that he lost those 2 places there going into the hairpin in the space of a couple hundred metres, in hindsight it did look a bit suspect, but I just thought he might have been out dragged maybe he hadn't saved his ERS up enough, but in hindsight, it was a bit of an extreme speed loss or speed deficit that caused him to lose those places. But Angry Guns finishes the race there in 14th place. That is that then for the sprint race. And obviously, if you're watching on the Red Arrows F1 League Season 15 playlist, then you will be able to go to the Grand Prix after this. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one.